Commander Alex Mercer had seen many strange worlds in his life, but nothing could prepare him for Andari Prime. As his ship glided through the sparkling rings of the planet, he felt a mix of fear and excitement he had never experienced before. Humanity had explored distant systems, made contact with minor alien species, but this mission was different. He was about to meet the ruling power of the Andari cluster, a civilization older and wiser than humanity could imagine. The landing platform stretched before him like a mirror of the stars. Crystal towers rose from the ground, glowing faintly in the dim sunlight. Strange creatures moved with grace, their eyes shining like jewels. Alex's heart raced. This was it, the moment that could define humanity's place in the galaxy. As he stepped out of his ship, the air felt heavier, charged with energy he could not name. And then he saw her, the Andari Queen. She was unlike anything he had ever imagined. Taller than most humans, with silver-scaled skin that shimmered like liquid metal and eyes that glowed violet, she floated toward him. Her presence was both regal and terrifying, a mixture of power and calm that made Alex's chest tighten. The court behind her was silent, 1,000 beings standing in perfect formation. And then something happened that froze Alex in place. The Queen kneeled. Slowly, deliberately, she lowered herself to the ground, her gaze fixed on him. Alex blinked. I don't understand, he stammered. Why, she did not answer immediately. Instead, she stayed kneeling, her eyes searching his face with an intensity he could feel in his bones. It was not fear. It was awe. Something in him, something human, something pure, had made her lower herself. The whispers of the court filled the air, soft and melodic, like the hum of wind over crystal. Your presence. It is unusual, she finally said, her voice calm but powerful. It wrapped around him, and Alex felt something strange stir in his chest. He had faced hostile aliens, black holes, and deadly storms, but never this. Never being honored in such a way without even knowing why. He stepped closer, his hands raised slightly in a gesture of peace. The Queen lifted one hand, hovering it near his shoulder. It was not a touch, but a recognition, a bridge between two beings who had never met before. Alex's mind raced. Was this a ritual, a test, or was it something more personal? He wanted to speak, to say something meaningful, but words failed him. All he could do was meet her gaze and hope he did not falter. The AI in his suit buzzed softly. Commander Mercer, it said. My sensors indicate an unusual biofeedback from the Queen. Her heart rate is elevated. She seems affected by your presence. Alex swallowed hard. A part of him wanted to feel proud, but another part worried. The Andari were powerful. This reverence could be dangerous if misread. Yet in that moment he realized something important. Sometimes greatness was not measured by force or technology, but by the way you made others see themselves in you. The Queen spoke again. I have seen many species in my life, she said softly, but none like you. There is a light in you, a truth my people have long forgotten. Alex's heart thumped in his chest. Humanity had always been underestimated, seen as young and fragile. And here, on a distant world, the ruler of an ancient empire saw him differently. She saw him as a being of value. Something about that acknowledgement made his chest swell with pride, fear, and hope all at once. He did not understand why she knelt. He did not understand why the court held its breath. But in that moment, Alex knew one thing. His life, and perhaps the future of humanity, was about to change forever. Alex followed the Andari Queen through the palace, his footsteps echoing on the smooth, glowing floors. The walls shimmered with shifting colors, showing images of Andari history. Battles fought, stars charted, heroes remembered. It was breathtaking, and yet, Alex could not take his eyes off the Queen. Even now, kneeling slightly behind him, she radiated power and grace unlike anything he had ever seen. The court whispered as they passed, a low hum like wind over metal towers. Alex realized they were watching him closely. Every movement, every expression mattered. He felt their eyes on him, measuring, testing, questioning whether humanity deserved their respect. The weight of it made his chest tighten, but he straightened, determined to represent his species with dignity. Finally, they reached a grand hall, enormous and circular. At the center, a platform rose, adorned with flowing crystal lights that seemed to pulse with life. The Queen motioned for Alex to step onto it. This is our ceremonial chamber, she explained. You will witness a tradition that has existed for millennia. Few outsiders are allowed this honor. Alex nodded, swallowing his nervousness. I'm grateful, he said. It is more than I could have imagined. The ceremony began. Lights swirled around the room, forming shapes that told stories without words. Battles, victories, losses, and love unfolded in dazzling colors. And through it all, the queen remained near him, kneeling, her gaze fixed on him, watching his reactions with quiet intensity. Alex realized the ceremony was not just for him to witness. It was a test of understanding, of respect, of connection. The Andari did not judge only by skill or strength. They judged by the heart. He felt a pang of responsibility. Humanity had been underestimated across the galaxy, but here, in this room, Alex knew he could prove their worth through honesty and empathy alone. He noticed the subtle glances of the council members, their silent judgments. They were powerful, ancient, and cautious. A single mistake could endanger not only him, but the fragile trust between their civilizations. Alex kept his mind focused, taking in every detail, absorbing every story told by the lights. The queen spoke softly, her voice carrying across the hall. No human has ever been allowed this ceremony. You are extraordinary. You are here not for power nor for conquest, but for understanding. That is rare, Alex swallowed hard. I only wish to learn and to honor your people, he said honestly. Humanity may be young, but we know what it means to fight for survival, to protect what we love. I hope that counts for something. For a moment, the room seemed to hold its breath. Then the queen reached out, hovering her hand near his shoulder. It was not a touch, but a connection, a silent acknowledgement of trust. Alex felt a warmth spread through him, a mixture of pride, relief, and hope. The ceremony continued, revealing stories of the Andari people that no outsider had ever seen. Alex felt tears prick at his eyes, not from sadness but from awe. Their resilience, their wisdom, their unyielding courage, it all spoke to something deeply familiar, something human. By the time the ceremony ended, the council had stopped whispering. The queen rose gracefully, her violet eyes locking onto Alex's. You have witnessed our history and our truth, she said. Few beings could endure this, and even fewer could feel it. You have done both. Alex felt a surge of emotion, honor, responsibility, and connection all mixed together. For the first time, he realized that being human did not make him weak. It made him unique. And in the eyes of the Andari queen, he was more than just a representative of his species. He was someone who could bridge the gap between two civilizations, someone capable of inspiring respect through courage, empathy, and authenticity. As the hall's lights dimmed, Alex took a deep breath, knowing this was only the beginning. The queen's eyes followed him, filled with curiosity, expectation, and a strange, unspoken recognition. Something had shifted, something ancient and powerful, and Alex understood with both awe and humility that his journey had truly begun. After the ceremony, Alex felt both honored and nervous. The Andari queen had treated him with respect beyond anything he expected, but he knew trust had to be earned, not given. The whispers of the court still lingered in his mind. Their eyes had followed him like shadows, questioning whether a human could truly understand the depth of their world. The queen led him to another hall, this one darker and quieter. The walls were smooth, yet faint lights pulsed along the edges as if the building itself was alive. This, she said, is the trial chamber. Here your courage, wisdom, and heart will be tested, not for entertainment, but to see if you are worthy of the respect shown to you today. Alex swallowed. He had faced combat simulations, alien ambushes, and near-death encounters, but nothing had prepared him for this. This was not about strength alone, it was about understanding, feeling, and empathy. He nodded. I am ready, he said, though his voice trembled slightly. The first trial was physical. The room shifted, gravity bending and flowing like liquid. Alex had to leap across floating platforms, dodge streams of energy, and navigate through a maze that seemed to change every moment. Each step required precision and courage. Several times he slipped, almost falling into darkness, but he pushed himself forward. Failure here would not just be embarrassing, it could end the fragile trust between humanity and the Andari. When the physical trial ended, Alex was breathing heavily, his muscles aching. Yet he felt exhilaration. This challenge reminded him why humans survived against impossible odds: adaptability, determination, and the refusal to surrender. Then came the second trial, far more difficult. Holographic images filled the chamber, showing the Andari's history, millennia of triumphs, betrayals, and sorrow. He saw the losses they had endured, families wiped out by wars, worlds destroyed by calamities, leaders betrayed by those they trusted. The weight of it pressed on him. He could feel the pain of an entire civilization. "You must show understanding," the Queen's voice echoed in the chamber, "not as a visitor, not as an outsider, but as one who honors our history. Only then will the trial be complete." Alex stepped forward, speaking aloud to the holograms, though they could not hear him. "I see your suffering. I see your courage. I see the love that has kept your people alive through everything. Humanity may not have lived as long, but we know loss, we know fear, and we know hope. I do not pretend to carry your pain, but I promise to honor it, to learn from it, and to respect it always." The chamber fell silent, the images fading. Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest, as if the Queen's presence was wrapping around him, acknowledging his words. Finally, the last trial began, a test of choice. A series of doors appeared, each representing a different path: power, knowledge, or compassion. One path promised influence over the Andari Council, another endless understanding of their technologies, and the third a chance to serve them and learn their ways with humility. Alex hesitated, but then he made his choice. He stepped toward the door of compassion, the path that valued empathy and understanding above all else. He knew that strength or knowledge alone would not earn their respect. True worth came from the heart. The chamber's light shifted, and the Queen appeared before him once more. Her violet eyes glimmered with approval. "You have chosen wisely," she said. "Few have this clarity. Few can balance courage with empathy. Few humans have ever done what you have done today." Alex felt a surge of relief, pride, and humility all at once. The trial was over, but its impact was only beginning. He had proven something that words could not capture. Humanity, in its simplicity and courage, could inspire awe even in an ancient and powerful species. And for the first time, Alex realized that this was no longer just a mission. It was a bridge between worlds, a bridge that he had already begun to build with nothing but honesty, bravery, and heart. After the trial, the atmosphere in the palace shifted. The court watched Alex with a mixture of caution and curiosity, but the Queen's gaze followed him with something different, something that felt almost personal. Alex could not explain it, yet he sensed a connection forming, subtle but undeniable. The Queen led him to a private garden within the palace, a place filled with floating plants that glowed softly in shades of green and gold. The air was fragrant, carrying scents Alex could not name. The sounds were gentle, melodic, a combination of wind and the hum of the palace's energy. Here, away from the council and court, the Queen spoke freely. "You have done more than I expected," she said, her voice calm yet warm. "Humans are often seen as reckless, young, and unworthy. Yet you carry a courage and honesty that cannot be taught. You do not seek power, only understanding." Alex felt his heart tighten. "I do not know why you treat me differently," he admitted. "Why you honored me from the moment I arrived. I am just a human." The Queen's violet eyes softened. "Perhaps that is why. In you I see something rare. A being unafraid to face the unknown, yet humble enough to learn from it." "That is extraordinary." Alex looked down, feeling a warmth he had not known since he was a child. In his world, humans were often underestimated, looked down upon by stronger, older species. Yet here, on a distant planet, the Queen saw him as more than a mere visitor. She saw value, she saw potential, and in that recognition, Alex felt a strange sense of pride mixed with awe. They walked together through the garden, exchanging stories. Alex told her about Earth, about humanity's struggles and small triumphs. The Queen shared tales of the Andari's victories and losses, of civilizations built and destroyed, of lessons learned over millennia. With every word, Alex realized how much humanity could learn from them, and perhaps how much the Andari could learn from humans. As the sun of Andari Prime set, casting violet and orange streaks across the sky, the Queen stopped and turned to him. "There are those in my court who do not trust you," she admitted. "They see humans as fragile, unpredictable, perhaps dangerous. But I sense you are different. You carry a light that has been missing for centuries." Alex felt the weight of her words. Trust was not easily earned, and yet here she had given it freely. "I will not fail your people," he said, his voice steady. "I will honor the trust you've shown me in every way I can." For a moment silence fell between them, filled with unspoken understanding. The garden seemed to hold its breath, the floating lights shimmering in approval. Alex realized that this bond was more than diplomatic, it was personal. The Queen had chosen to see him not as an outsider, but as an equal, as someone worthy of her respect. But with trust came risk. The court was not united, and whispers of suspicion were already spreading. Some viewed his presence as a threat, a challenge to their centuries-old traditions. Alex could sense the tension, and he knew it would take all his courage and wisdom to navigate the political currents that were beginning to stir. Yet for now, he allowed himself a moment of quiet awe. In this garden, under alien skies and beside a being who commanded worlds, he felt something he had never felt before: acceptance, recognition, and perhaps a glimpse of friendship that could transcend galaxies. As night fell, Alex understood one truth. This journey was no longer just about diplomacy or exploration. It was about connection, courage, and the fragile hope that humanity could inspire even the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Days passed, and Alex's presence in the palace began to stir more than admiration. The Queen's trust in him had not gone unnoticed, and murmurs of suspicion rippled through the court. Some council members whispered that a human, an outsider, could never truly understand the Andari, let alone earn their respect. Others feared that Alex's influence over the Queen might upset the delicate balance of power. Alex felt the tension, even as he continued his studies of Andari history and culture. He observed council meetings, tried to learn their language nuances, and listened closely to their concerns. Despite their wariness, he remained calm, remembering the lesson he had learned during the trial. Courage and honesty could inspire trust, even in the most guarded hearts. Then, the challenge arrived. A faction of the council, led by the stern and calculating Chancellor Vareth, confronted the Queen during a public assembly. "Your Majesty," Vareth said, his voice cold and sharp, "this human walks freely in our halls, learns our secrets, and influences your decisions. Can we trust him, or does he seek something we do not understand?" A hush fell over the assembly. Alex stood to the side, feeling a surge of nerves. He could sense the weight of centuries pressing down on him, the judgment of beings far older and wiser than humanity. He wanted to speak, but the Queen placed a hand gently on his shoulder. "Do not speak yet," she whispered. "Let me handle this." The Queen's violet eyes met the council's, glowing with authority. "Alex has proven himself in ways few outsiders ever could," she said. "He has faced our trials, honored our history, and shown courage beyond expectation. If you doubt him, then you doubt the very values that have kept our civilization alive for millennia." The council murmured again, some nodding, others frowning. Vareth's glare hardened. "Actions speak louder than words, Your Majesty. If this human is truly worthy, let him demonstrate it. A trial of skill, judgment, and honor. Let him prove that humanity deserves our trust." Alex's heart pounded. Another trial. He had already faced their tests, yet this felt different. This was not just for him. It was for the recognition of humanity itself. The eyes of the Andari and perhaps the galaxy were on him. The trial began immediately. Alex was placed in a simulated scenario, a holographic recreation of a critical Andari city under attack. Alien invaders threatened the population, and Alex had to make rapid decisions, protect civilians, direct defenses, and balance resources, all while respecting the traditions and ethics of the Andari. He acted quickly, relying on human intuition and adaptability. He gave orders calmly, prioritized safety, and even found creative solutions the holograms had not anticipated. His choices saved countless lives in the simulation and preserved the city's cultural and historical landmarks. When the simulation ended, silence filled the chamber. The council watched, stunned. The Queen's gaze softened with pride. "He has succeeded," she said, her voice carrying across the room. "Not through force alone, but through wisdom, courage, and compassion. He has proven that humanity's strength lies not just in technology or numbers, but in heart." Even Vareth, who had doubted him most, nodded slowly. "Perhaps we underestimated him," he admitted. "Perhaps humanity is different than we thought." Alex felt a surge of relief and pride, but also humility. He had not done this for glory or recognition. He had acted as a human, true to his instincts, and in doing so, earned the respect of an entire civilization. As the assembly ended, the Queen approached him. "You have done more than I expected," she said, her voice soft and sincere. "Not only have you proven your worth, but you have also shown my people that there is value in courage, honesty, and compassion, even from a species young by our standards." Alex looked into her violet eyes and realized the depth of the moment. He was not just a human in a distant palace. He had become a symbol, a bridge between worlds. Humanity, once underestimated, now had a chance to shine in the galaxy. And in that quiet, powerful moment, Alex understood something profound. Sometimes, being human was enough. Peace in the palace was brief. Even after Alex's victory in the trial, tension simmered beneath the surface. Some council members still questioned humanity's place among the Andari. Others, envious of the Queen's attention to him, began plotting in shadows. Alex sensed the unease, but he focused on learning, on understanding this ancient civilization, and on the bond forming with the Queen. Then disaster struck. Alarms blared across the palace. A rogue faction of Andari, dissatisfied with the Queen's leadership, had staged an attack. They sought to capture the Queen and claim power for themselves. The palace shook as energy blasts tore through corridors, and Alex realized that words and diplomacy were no longer enough. Action was needed. The Queen turned to him, her violet eyes filled with concern, yet trust unbroken. "Alex," she said urgently, "stay close. We must protect my people and our legacy. Can I rely on you?" Alex nodded without hesitation. "Always." The corridors were chaos. Alex moved with human instinct and courage, guiding fleeing citizens and finding safe paths. Despite the danger, he remained calm, calculating, and compassionate. He saw frightened children, injured Andari, and panicked council members, and he made quick choices to save as many as possible. At the heart of the palace, the Queen confronted the insurgents. Alex followed, knowing he could not leave her alone. The attackers were skilled, but Alex had learned from the Andari trials. He anticipated their movements, coordinated defenses, and even used parts of the palace's systems to block their advances. During the fight, the Queen was cornered. A massive energy surge threatened to strike her, and Alex acted instinctively. He threw himself in front of her, taking the blast and redirecting its force using his suit's shielding. Pain shot through his body, but he refused to let it slow him down. Protecting her, he realized, was more than duty. It was respect, trust, and an unspoken connection that had grown between them. The Queen saw his sacrifice, and in that moment, her usual calm and regal demeanor faltered. For the first time, Alex saw fear in her eyes. Not fear of battle, but fear of losing someone who had proven the value of humanity. The insurgents hesitated, surprised by the courage of a human standing against forces far stronger than himself. Drawing strength from his determination, Alex rallied the palace defenders. With strategy and courage, he helped turn the tide. The insurgents were defeated, captured, or driven away. Silence returned to the palace, heavy with the echoes of battle. The Queen approached him, her steps careful, her eyes wide with gratitude and something deeper. She reached out, touching his shoulder lightly. "You saved my life, and more than that, you saved the trust and hope of my people. I do not know how to thank you enough." Alex, exhausted and bruised, shook his head. "I did what anyone would do. I could not let harm come to you, or your people. Humans fight not just for survival, but for what they believe is right. That is all." The Queen smiled, a rare, genuine smile that warmed Alex's heart. In her eyes, he saw relief, pride, and a deep respect that went beyond words. For centuries, the Andari had ruled through power and tradition, yet here they were, inspired by the courage and heart of a single human. As the palace began to recover, Alex understood the truth of the moment. Humanity, though young and often underestimated, had the power to change perspectives, earn respect, and inspire hope across galaxies. And he realized something even more personal. In the Queen's eyes, he had found not just recognition but trust, and perhaps a bond that neither time nor distance could break. That night, as the palace lights flickered softly and the injured were tended, Alex sat quietly beside the Queen. Words were not needed. The events of the day, the trials, the battles, they had spoken more than any speech could. In the silence, an unspoken promise hung between them. Humanity had proven itself, and their connection would endure. The palace was quiet now, but the weight of the recent events lingered in the air. The battle was over, the insurgents defeated, and the Andari had begun to rebuild. Yet for Alex, the impact of the last days was far deeper than the physical scars he bore. He had entered this world as an outsider, a mere human among beings who had ruled galaxies for centuries. Now he was something else, a symbol of courage, empathy, and the potential of humanity. The Queen summoned him to the central hall, a place where light and crystal intertwined to reflect the beauty and history of her people. As he entered, he noticed every council member watching him, some with newfound respect, others with grudging acceptance. And at the center stood the Queen, radiant as ever, but with an expression Alex had not seen before, one of deep admiration and sincere emotion. "You have done more than survive trials and battle," the Queen said, her voice echoing gently in the hall. "You have shown my people that humanity is not defined by age or strength alone, but by courage, compassion, and integrity. You have earned not just respect but trust, and trust is the most valuable gift we can give." Alex felt a warmth in his chest, a mixture of pride and humility. He bowed slightly, understanding that words alone could never convey the depth of what he felt. "I only acted as any human would," he said quietly. "I fought for what was right, and I honored your people. That is all." The Queen smiled, her violet eyes glimmering like distant stars. "No, Alex, what you did was more than action. It was humanity itself, shining at its best. And that is extraordinary." The council murmured in agreement. Some bowed their heads in acknowledgement. Others, including Chancellor Vareth, stepped forward. "We were wrong to doubt you," he admitted, voice firm but respectful. "You have proven that even the youngest species can possess wisdom, courage, and heart beyond our expectations." Alex felt a surge of emotion. For centuries, humanity had been underestimated by the galaxy. But now, standing in this hall on Andari Prime, he realized something profound. One person, acting with honesty, courage, and empathy, could change the minds of even the oldest civilizations. The Queen extended her hand toward him. Alex hesitated for only a moment before taking it. In that touch was more than gratitude. It was recognition, respect, and an unspoken bond that neither species nor distance could break. "You will be remembered in our histories, Alex Mercer," the Queen said softly. "Not as a human guest, but as a bridge between worlds. You have given us hope and reminded us of what is possible when courage and heart guide actions." Alex looked around the hall, taking in the faces of the Andari, their expressions filled with admiration and trust. In that moment, he understood that this was bigger than any mission, bigger than himself. Humanity, though young and often underestimated, had earned a place in the galaxy, not through domination or fear, but through qualities that were often overlooked: compassion, bravery, and integrity. As he stepped outside into the light of Andari Prime's twin suns, Alex felt a deep sense of peace. The Queen floated beside him, and together they gazed at the horizon. He realized that this world, these people, and this moment had changed him forever. "You have shown us the best of your species," the Queen said quietly, "and perhaps you have shown humanity what it can truly be." Alex smiled, feeling the weight of their words and the promise of the future. For the first time, he truly understood the meaning of respect, trust, and courage. And in that understanding, he knew that humanity's story in the galaxy was just beginning, and it would be a story worth telling. As the twin suns set, casting violet and gold light across the landscape, Alex felt a quiet pride. He had entered as an outsider, uncertain and small. He left as a hero, not just of humanity, but of connection, courage, and hope. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, the Andari Queen knelt once again, not in submission, but in reverence for what a human had shown her. The extraordinary power of a simple heart.